How is it possible for Joseph, the son of Jacob, to be in both the Old and New Testament format when God changed the elements of earth? Other than to surmise that the original Ethiopian Bible was not in the Old and New Testament format. It was the translators who decided to create that format. And due to that format, a lot of confusion has started. So let's read what the Most High has to say. I hate vain thoughts. By thy Lord do I love. Thou art my hiding place and my shield. I hope in thy word. Depart from me, you evildoers, for I will keep the commandments of my God. Uphold me according unto my word, that I may live, and let me not be ashamed of my hope. Hold thou me up, and I shall be safe, and I will have respect unto the statutes continually. Thou hast trodden down all them that err from thy statutes, for deceit is falsehood. In other words, there's a lot of people changing up the narrative. So let's see where it began. They go where you send them. Of all the things that should have started in ancient Egypt, then it went to Persia, then to Rome. Now here in America is the same eagle, just with different colored feathers. And don't forget, the Vatican popes are from Iran, also known as Persia. So let's watch the history. And don't forget, during slavery in the Dark Ages, Europe was controlled by black kings who happened to have their patrons changed to white kings. Don't forget, Iran was founded by Ethiopian. And the whole region from Egypt to India used to be called Ethiopia. Both ancient Egypt and the Vatican wear the sun hat. The original Russian, who was a black man who created the language. So all they did was just repainted them white. So let's watch.
The nuclear-armed state of Israel was to serve as a military outpost and gateway to the natural wealth and resources of the Middle East for Europe and the US. A lovely coincidence of aims and objectives. The new state was supported unhesitatingly and unflinchingly, armed and bankrolled, coddled and applauded, no matter what crimes it committed. It grew up like a protected child in a wealthy home whose parents smile proudly as it commits atrocity upon atrocity. No wonder today it feels free to boast openly about committing genocide. At least the Pentagon Papers were secret. They had to be stolen and leaked. No wonder Israeli soldiers seem to have lost all sense of decency. No wonder they flood the social media with depraved videos of themselves wearing the lingerie of women they have killed or displaced. Videos of themselves mimicking dying Palestinians and wounded children or raped and tortured prisoners. Images of themselves blowing up buildings while they smoke cigarettes or jive to music on their head.
So they're using God's name, who is Israel. So now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children. For Jah has chosen even Jacob for himself, Jah Jehovah God. Therefore Israel is his special property. So he goes by the name of Israel. So therefore Israel begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, which will make Israel Heli. Because Joseph is the son of Heli, the same Joseph who's with Jesus. So Jacob also goes by the name of David. Why? Because Joseph is of the house and the family of David. So as you can see in the second book of Esdras, Heli is supposed to be here when the people are brought out of bondage, which will happen at the end of times. So I, Esdras, received the charge of the Lord upon the Mount Arab, that I should go to Israel. But when I came unto them, they despised the commandment of the Lord. Therefore he said, look for your shepherd, for he is near at hand. Be ready for the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. Which will happen at the end of times, because at the end of times this will happen. For the elements will change in themselves by a kind of harmony, like as in a psaltery notes change the name of the tune, and yet are always sound, which may well be perceived by the sight of things that have been done. For earthly things were turned into watery, and things that before swarmed in the water now went upon the ground. The fire had power in the water, forgetting its own virtue, and the water forgot its own quenching nature. On the other sides, the flame wasted not the flesh of the corruptible living things, though they walked therein, neither melted the icy kind of heavenly meat that was of the nature apt to melt. For in all things, Lord, O Lord, thou didst. For the God is our King, a living God, not no person that never lived. Let's watch. Other lies.
If you crucify someone, they're done. It's over. This is the law. And Jesus is saying that he's here to perfect the law. So do you know how foolish it would have looked to the children of Israel, their Messiah, the person...
Messiah is Moses, his father. So he follows the laws of Moses. So of course he wants to do the law.
who's telling them that he's their Messiah, who's fulfilling the law, is accursed as a criminal under that same law. This is why the Jews laugh at a crucified Messiah. It's an oxymoron. It is an oxymoron. You can't...
Because the real Messiah is Moses himself. Hence, Mosiah. Moses. You literally hear his name within it. So let's watch more lies.
He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. And by his wounds, we are healed. Is this from the Tanakh or the New Testament?
זה מהברית החדשה או מהתנ"ך? ברית החדשה. מאיפה אתה חושב שזה מהברית החדשה או מהתנ"ך?
New Testament. New Testament? New Testament? What makes you think it's from the New Testament?
Like Jesus was, like we put our sins on him, that's what they say. Right? So I feel like that's more of what it's coming at.
Okay, anything else?
In the Old Testament, it's like we take for our sins.
Remember, it's just one book, and they were supposed to be here at the end of Revelation. Hello.
No, we don't put it on someone else. We don't put it on Jesus. We take it for ourselves.
למה אתה חושב שזה מהברית החדשה?
לא, אני מכיר את התנ"ך, אני לא מכיר כזה...
And don't forget, Jesus means Yeshua. Therefore, his name is Joshua. So they put the story of Joshua in the Old Testament, when in fact, he's supposed to be here at the end of times. Because as you could clearly see, he has a grandson. So this Jesus was the son of Sirach and the grandchild to Jesus of the same name with him. This man therefore lived in the latter times. Read it again. This man therefore lived in the latter times. In other words, both Jesus are supposed to be here in the later times of Revelation and not thousands of years ago. After the people had been led away captive and called home again, and almost after all the prophets. Now his grandfather Jesus, as he himself witnesseth, was a man of great diligence and wisdom. In other words, both Jesus are going to be alive. So Jesus goes by the name of Joshua.
למה חשבת שזה מהברית החדשה?
צורת הכתיבה שלו.
Well, no, what makes you think it's the New Testament? I'm going to read it again.
Be honest. It's the way it's phrased, really.
Yeah. So this is phrased from the prophet Isaiah 700 years before Jesus was
זה
born.
מהתנ"ך.
זה מהתנ"ך, כן? וואי.
זה מהתנ"ך. זה רשום בישעיהו, ישעיהו נ"ג.
It's from the Old Testament. Yeah, it's from the prophet Isaiah 52 and 50.
Hello. In other words, they're supposed to be here now, not thousands of years ago. Follow Jah, not man.
From the Maccabean epic